Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So there's quite a few stories here, so make sure you are subscribed to watch all of these videos, because I would do it all as one, but due to the amount of different change of subjects, it'd be quite difficult for me to title it. So I'm going to do a couple of these ones very, very short. Now this one will be about Deontay Wilder's opponents. According to Deontay Wilder, first and foremost, by the way that he's talking, it's like he's moved on from Tyson Fury, which can't quite be true, because that's why he's seeking mediation. Or at least his team is, anyway. For me, I don't think Wilder wants to fight. But either way, if nothing comes of it, which I don't believe it will, but if it does, it does. But if it doesn't, the names that Deontay Wilder has said that he would like to fight, that would be on the top of his list, are, number one, Dillian Whyte. Another one, Andy Ruiz Jr. Robert Helenius. Joseph Parker. Oleksandr Usyk. Now, he says about Oleksandr Usyk, he speaks about him a bit more, where he says that he would love to fight him, as he called me out on quite a few occasions. So he would love to fight Oleksandr Usyk. Now, Dillian Whyte has probably called out Deontay Wilder more than any other heavyweight on the planet. He wants Deontay Wilder, because he believes he's got the beating of Deontay Wilder. And the amount of conversations that I've had with Dillian Whyte is that he knows he's got the beating of him for a couple of reasons, because he's seen how Deontay Wilder got knocked smooth out in sparring when he was in the same camp as Wilder in Vladimir Klitschko over in, was it Germany or Ukraine? I forgot. But he's seen how you handle Deontay Wilder, and he's seen ever since then as well that when you pressure Deontay Wilder, he don't like it. He don't like it on the whiskers. So Dillian Whyte, if I was to text him right now, in fact I might do in a bit, and say, Deontay Wilder wants to fight you, he'd be like, yo, let's get it on. Let's do it. But, of course, Dillian Whyte could turn around and say, but you're not bringing anything to the table anymore. I've been calling you out for the longest time, but you kept refusing to give me an opportunity. So if I beat Povetkin and become interim world heavyweight champion and mandatory challenger again, why would I do you a favour? But I think Dillian Whyte probably would, just because he wants to get his hands on Deontay Wilder. The same Deontay Wilder who even sent Dillian Whyte personal DMs, and it was shown on the DAZN YouTube channel, so go there, check it out, just type into Google or YouTube and you'll find it, where Wilder sent a personal DM to Dillian Whyte saying how he doesn't have to fight him and he'll freeze him out for the next 2 years if he wants to. These are the kind of things that he was saying. Andy Ruiz Jr., that's probably a more realistic one, because it is an in-house fight, it is a PBC fight, especially if they go along the lines of the PBC belt as well, because that was something that Fox Sports and the PBC were talking about before lockdown. So they could just go, forget it with all the sanctioning bodies as far as heavyweight is concerned, because none of our heavyweights here at the PBC are even close to getting a world title opportunity anytime soon for the next 2 or 3 years. Let's just go ahead and make our PBC belt. Then I could probably see Wilder versus Andy Ruiz Jr. Okay. Now, other names with Robert Helenius. Well, Robert Helenius, he's actually a good fighter. He is. I think that he's very underrated, I believe. I know he's got like a couple of losses. Of course, he's lost to Johan Duapa, who, of course, Wilder has beat before. But he was winning that fight, and it's heavyweight boxing. Robert Helenius got caught with a huge punch, went down, couldn't get back up again. It's heavyweight. Of course, he lost to Dillian Whyte on points, very one-sided points, albeit maybe the first round, maybe you could probably argue, give to Robert Helenius, is what it is. But it's an interesting one, especially if he was to beat Adam Kaunaki again in the rematch. Okay. The other name, Joseph Parker. Again, it's not really kind of fight that I think we're going to see, because Joseph Parker, much like Dillian Whyte and that, is on the Matchroom side of things. Deontay Wilder, the PBC, don't want to work with Matchroom. Boxing politics, right? So it's unlikely we'll see that fight. Personally, I would like to see that fight. I think that Parker, much like with Dillian Whyte, I don't think that Deontay Wilder can beat him. I don't think that Deontay Wilder can beat Parker. I don't think that he could beat Usyk. I don't think he could beat Dillian Whyte. I'm not too confident that he could beat Andy Ruiz Jr., to be honest with you. But with Joseph Parker, he's arguably got a chin of iron. He's only ever hit the deck with Dillian Whyte, with that left hook that most people don't even get up from. So for me, I can't see how Deontay Wilder beats Joseph Parker. If you can't knock out Joseph Parker, how are you going to beat him? Because you can't outbox him. You can't outmove him. So is that a likely fight? I don't think so. And Oleksandr Usyk, again, if you can't land on Usyk, how are you going to beat him? How? Why? Because you're so much bigger than him. That doesn't mean anything. If you can't land on him because his footwork is too fast, how are you going to beat him? For me, I don't see him fighting any of these guys, actually. I see him fighting a Charles Martin. Again, an in-house fight, PBC. Maybe a Frank Sanchez. He's a prospect, Cuban prospect. I can see that fight. Or we could be looking at some rematches, like a third fight with Luis Ortiz, or another fight with Dominic Brazil, these kind of ones. Or maybe bring in some Eastern Europeans or something like that. But I don't see him fighting any of these names. Honestly, I don't. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Be interesting. For me, I would still love to see him take on Dillian Whyte. I think most people would, unless, of course, you're a Deontay Wilder fan. But then some Wilder fans go, but Dillian Whyte, he got knocked out by Anthony Joshua. And Dillian Whyte, he got knocked out by Oleksandr Povetkin. Imagine what Wilder would do to him. Okay, could Wilder survive long enough to land that punch, though? Well, if you believe he can, shouldn't really be a problem to see the fight then, should there? But anyway, we'll have to wait and see with that one. So that is the list of Deontay Wilder opponents. Dillian Whyte, Andy Ruiz Jr., Robert Helenius, Joseph Parker, Oleksandr Usyk. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.